What's going on, guys? youngjdr here with a fantasy football video for week 4 waiver pickups, and we're going to start off with quarterbacks. If this video is helpful, make sure you guys are dropping. I'd like to see more for weekly ones. If you guys are new, drop a sub on the channel, comment who you guys are going to be picking up. But here we are starting with quarterbacks. We're going to start with Joe Burrow. Has done alright this season. Probably one of the best offensive rookies so far. Hasn't done too much, but not too bad. He's dropped at least 15 every game, and against Philly, he even got 20. He's actually been doing good, and this week they play Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think, like over 4 points for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I could see Joe Burrow at least dropping 20. So that's a good matchup right there. So if you do have a quarterback that's hurt, maybe you have a Jimmy G or someone like that, you can replace him with him. Probably the best one on this list, one of the top ones at least here, Jared Goff. The Rams have been producing huge numbers this season, been doing good. He's dropped 27 against that great Buffalo defense. And as we can see right here, Giants, Washington, 2 back-to-back bad teams right there. So if you need a quarterback for the next 2 weeks, definitely Jared Goff. With all the offensive targets he has too, Tyler Higbee, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they've been doing really good this season. Even Darrell Henderson, the running backs have been doing good. For how much the Rams lost this offseason, they're producing big numbers, and Jared Goff is definitely a sleeper quarterback. Baker Mayfield, I was debating to put him on this list or not. I think he's actually starting to pick up from where he left off on his rookie season. He hasn't been doing too bad. We saw him on that Thursday night game against Bengals. He didn't do that bad this week. He did 14 points against the Redskins, which is kind of a worry, but he only had 156 yards for passing. So I think it's kind of a risk to go for Baker Mayfield, because if Nick Chubb gets a lot of carries and he does good, Baker Mayfield's obviously not going to get a bunch of passes. But if Nick Chubb, we've seen he does have those off games, doesn't get a lot of carries, Baker Mayfield will be able to take over right there. With the next quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Been a little inconsistent this season, but like another quarterback that I think that could go back on track from last season though is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had a pretty good season last year. This season he hasn't been doing too great, I would say. Green Bay, 21 points, that's solid. -1 though against the Colts, that's just horrible. And 19 against Tennessee. And they play Houston and Seattle, so I don't know. Who else do they play after that? Atlanta. So they do play some tough teams, but we've seen Justin Jefferson popped off this week. Adam Thielen is just Adam Thielen. So they have Dalvin Cook, so they got a bunch of offensive talent. Now Kirk Cousins just has to use it. For the next quarterback, Derek Carr. Raiders, kind of a surprising team. They're 2-1 this season. They beat the Saints that 1 week, and that was actually a pretty good game. This week they lost to the Patriots. So Derek Carr has been actually not doing too good. Darren Waller's been a huge key of why he's been doing good though too. But we see 15 points, 21, 13, and then this week he plays Buffalo. We've seen Buffalo let huge numbers at Jared Goff, so maybe Buffalo's defense will have a weakness too. But I don't know. If you really need a quarterback, maybe Derek Carr's the guy to get. If you're a Raiders fan, you have potential, maybe go for him. But probably finish off the QBs. Maybe behind Jared Goff a little bit. And Nick Foles. Nick Foles has been announced as starting for week 4 against the Colts. As we can see, the Colts have been pretty good on defense for the past. But I don't know. We've seen Nick Foles, I think, only play around a half last week. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. The Bears have actually been surprisingly doing good this year. And they got Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Jimmy Graham, and their tight ends have been solid. The running backs are an issue, so the Bears won't be running the ball much. I think it's going to be a lot of passing with the Bears. And that's why I think Nick Foles is going to be the guy to go. They play the Colts and then Tampa, and then after that, they play Carolina, so they do have kind of a rough schedule. But honestly, if he does what he did last week, I think Nick Foles could actually be really good this year. I don't know if he's going to be what he was on Philly. When he was on Philly, he was doing really good, but overall, he's doing decent. But to the running backs, the number 1 guy, if you're an 8-person league, he might still be here. And if you're a 10-person league, may or may not, James Robinson. This guy's like unheard of, but he's been really productive. 10 points first game. Not too great though right there, but probably better than he was projected. 21 points, that's solid, right? And then he dropped 30 points against Miami and now plays Cincinnati next week. So definitely, I think this guy is a really good, receiving back too. As you can see, the schedule's not too bad, but he's obviously been doing super good, and he's only projected 13 points this week and destroyed that at 102 rushing yards. So that's actually not bad at all. So I don't know, James Robinson, probably one of the best running backs on this board, and I think he's actually one of the top running backs this season so far too, which is crazy. But with number 2 right here, Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson's, I think, one of the third running back for the Rams, but Cam Akers is injured, Malcolm Brown was questionable, and that just leads to Darrell Henderson getting a bunch of the carries. And last week he only had, week 3, he had 20 attempts for 114 rushing yards. That's good, and I think as soon as they get close near the touchdowns, the end zone, Darrell Henderson's gonna get the ball. So obviously you can see, I think he's going to be getting a lot of touchdowns, but he's actually been a good rushing running back too. But New York and Washington, like I was talking about Jared Goff, I'll probably definitely pick up Darrell Henderson after this game tonight. Next running back, Myles Gaskin. No, not really heard of, but he's honestly been pretty consistent with over 14 points the past 2 weeks, which is really not bad at all for how much he's only been projected, 11. But he's actually been not too bad. 38 carries, 152 rushing yards this season, and has 0 touchdowns. So as soon as this guy starts getting touchdowns, which we may be able to see, I don't know, I think this guy could be making big fantasy points, but obviously not the best running back here. Adrian Peterson hasn't actually been too bad this season. I don't know. I just put him on. He's kind of a risky one to go with, but honestly, Adrian Peterson's been pretty solid. I think he's going to be getting I feel like he hasn't had a touchdown yet either, but he's going to be one of those guys that he's going to be getting a lot of touchdowns when they're in the end zone too. So, I don't know, pretty good. But definitely the best running back here. I don't know if what's his name is going to play this week, but holy cow. The Patriots running back Rex Burkhead. And as you can see, Matthew Berry said you can never trust Patriots running backs. Patriots running backs are really inconsistent, which is a worry, but definitely Rex Burkhead had a crazy game. 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. But the thing that was crazy is he had 11 receptions with 96 receiving yards, 83 rushing yards though. So I think with Cam Newton, he may be one of those guys that does pass to the running back a lot because he tries to run himself, and when he doesn't find an option, he dumps it off. So a lot of points this week. That's all I can say right there. 34. The previous weeks he wasn't starting running back, so he didn't have many points. But honestly, I think if Rex Burkhead is the starting running back for the couple next weeks, definitely be dropping at least 15. I'd say he's been good. And then this is if Jerick McKinnon and Mostert do not play. Jeff Wilson Jr. He's actually had a really good game. Only projected 9 points and dropped 21. Was sharing time with Jerick McKinnon before he got hurt. So I think this is the fourth running back for fourth running back for the San Fran, and he's putting good numbers up. 2 touchdowns last week. They play Philly and Miami, so 2 alright teams that aren't too good. So definitely good fantasy running back if you need him. Going to wide receivers, Michael Gallup, 25 points. We can see as the Cowboys have been insane on offense. Zeke's getting points, Dak's getting points, Amari Cooper's getting points, and Michael Gallup's even getting points. So the ball has been spread around all around, and they play Cleveland and the Giants. They're not 2 pretty good teams to go against. So that's going to be good points for Michael Gallup if they do pass a lot, and he's not bad. Jerry Judy, with Courtland Sutton out all year and they play the Jets this week, I think Jerry Judy might be one of those guys to pick up for the week. I could see him maybe doing good if the Broncos pass a lot with Brett Rypien. I don't know. I think it might be a lot of running if Phillip Lindsay is back, which I don't know if he's guaranteed, but he might have a good week. Alan Lazard has had a really good week as a second wide receiver last week. Marquise Scantily was the number 1 receiver for Green Bay since Devontae Adams was out, and Allen just did way better than what he did. And even the first week when he was the third receiver, he had 18 points. So I think Aaron Rodgers really likes passing to him. He's open a lot, and I think he's definitely a playmaker. Probably the best, or one of the best wide receivers right here, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver from the Vikings, rookie from LSU, dropped, I think, 30 points this week. Touchdown, 7 receptions, 175 yards. I think he beat Randy Moss's record for something for a rookie. So really crazy, and I think he's just going to be getting better and better and better through the season. Maybe one of the best rookie wide receivers in the class right now after that game. That's just crazy. But probably, definitely one of the best weeks for him, and we'll see if he continues. Brandon Ayak from what's called 49ers. 21 points last week. He was hurt in the beginning of the season, but he's coming back. They play Philly and Miami. Philly, I'm not too confident he'll do good, but against Miami, I could see him doing really good. And after that, they even play Rams, New England. So he got some rough matchups, but as a rookie, he's fast. He's pretty talented. I could see him doing good and producing big numbers later on. And the finish off wide receivers, Hunter Renfrow had a big week, 20 points. The number one wide receiver, I think, for the Raiders with Henry Ruggs. But honestly, Hunter Renfrow, we see what he did at the end of last season, and I think he's going to pick off from what he did. Didn't have a good start, but honestly, 6 receptions for 84 yards, 1 touchdown. I think Derek Carr really likes him, and he'll be doing good. But with tight end to finish it off, TJ Hawkinson, if he's still available in your league, I'd pick him up. He's actually been pretty consistent and a good player, but I know if you're in an 8-player league, he still might be there. But if you're in a 10-player league, these guys probably will not be there, but just an option. Mike Giusig, been pretty good this season, 27 points against Buffalo. In the next couple weeks, he plays some good teams, but honestly, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will find him open a lot. I think he likes him. But probably the best one here, Jimmy Graham, if he's still available in your league. He played last week with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, 24 points, and that was crazy of a week for him, and I think that he actually might have a good season, which all the hate Jimmy Graham gets, I think he's actually a good tight end. And this guy, the tight end for the Colts, don't know how to pronounce his name. I think he's actually, Philip Rivers likes his tight end. We've seen what he did with Hunter Henry and Chargers. I think he just likes the tight end position, and this guy's going to be doing good for the next couple weeks. But I don't know. He's been pretty good so far. Pretty consistent except for that first week. But if you need a tight end desperate, then maybe go for him or even put him on your bench. But honestly, kind of a surprising pick that nobody's really heard of is Robert Tonya, and whatever you say his name. 4.6 points. He's projected low. Green Bay's tight end dropped 16 points last game against New Orleans, and I don't know, he's been pretty good. We know Aaron Rodgers does like his tight ends sometimes, and he's actually been a solid one so far this season. But I don't know, if you guys need tight end desperate, maybe go for one of these guys, but probably Jimmy Graham or TJ Hawkinson's the best on this list. But anyways guys, I'm going to wrap up the video right there. So probably the best ones to get is Darrell Henderson, Justin Jefferson, and the big guys who popped off last week that are going to be stars for the future. So if you guys do want to see more fantasy weekly waiver wire pickups, drop a like on the video, comment who you guys are me picking up. If you guys are new, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out. Peace.